What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I am Rockin Robbie Billups. We have a very special guest with us tonight, so let's just get right into it. This man is a legend in the comic book industry. Writer, penciler, inker, complete artist, editor. He has started publishing companies. He is involved in every nook and cranny of this industry. Y'all give a mighty, hearty, warm station to the one, the only, Jimmy Palmiotti. What is up?
How you doing? It's Palmiotti, Robert. I know you want to say I don't know how you just pronounced it, but everyone screws up my name.
Palmiotti, right?
There you go. There you go.
There you go. What did I say? Did I say Palmiotti or something?
You say whatever. It doesn't matter.
Jimmy P, what's up?
It says it right here, so it's kind of like if you let them figure it out.
It's Jimmy Palmiotti.
Yeah. Jimmy is good enough. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, buddy?
All right. I like your shelves of characters there. Seems, you got a little DC and Marvel.
Yeah, DC, Marvel, even got some Image, got some Spawn representation.
Awesome. We love Spawn.
Heck yeah, I need to get me an Ash figure is what I need. So
eBay.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, I should get on. You just cost me like $30 tonight, didn't you? I'm going to get on eBay. I'm going to buy an Ash figure.
Can't be too expensive. That and the Painkiller Jane. I think I have a Painkiller Jane one right here.
Uh-oh. We're already getting into show and tell, everybody.
This was like, here it is right there. There's Jane.
Look at that.
She's kind of like the girl in the background there, you know?
Yeah, it looks familiar.
Yeah, but that's the Jane one. It has like a little green screen madness going on here, but she's got two guns. And I loved all this stuff, but I had no room for it anymore.
Yeah.
And when I moved from Brooklyn to Florida, I gave away everything. I told my friends to come over and take any statues you want, any toys you want. I had hundreds of them. And I just said, take them all. Otherwise, I'm going to throw them out. And so then everybody ran over and started taking everything.
Of course, right? And then they like listing them on eBay. They're like from Jimmy's personal collection.
I could care less. You know what's funny? I put a lot of my books in CGC, and whenever they do that, they put from the collection of Jimmy Palmiotti. So once in a while, I'll see one. Somebody goes, "Is this really from your collection?" And I said, "Yeah." I mean, it says it right there on the label. I don't think it's worth a dime more or less, but it's kind of fun because I do have some comics from I have a Stan Lee, one of Stan's books, and it's from the collection of Stan Lee.
Oh wow!
So I guess that's kind of cool,
I didn't know they did that. Like if it was I guess certain creators or most creators, they'll make that in the notation.
If you have enough blackmail on the people that own the company, you can get anything you want.
Nice.
But no, they're really cool with that. We do a lot of work with them. Amanda and I go there for signings. They're down in Sarasota, not too far from us. And we do. I've had most of my FF collection put into CGC because a lot of them were, I had from the long time ago. I had them since I was a kid. So
yeah,
that kind of stuff. I didn't want it to kind of fall apart. And some of the books are in that stage of they've seen better days because I think they were read like 400 times. You're talking
about like the Kirby and Lee stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the that, and then Stan and John Buscema, and after that I haven't read them in a million years. I haven't. Something about getting older, you kind of you want to read the same stuff you read whenever you were a kid.
Yeah, right.
In a weird way, and then I always say like some of the newest stuff, I feel like sometimes I don't have a grasp on the character.
Yeah, that's a lot of us feel that way. Oh, what got you into books then? You've been into books for a long time, into comics. What got you into them?
When I was a kid, growing up in Brooklyn, I have two older brothers, and they had comics around, and my uncle owned a barbershop, and he had a stack of comic books, and underneath the Playboys and all that, and
underneath the Playboys, not on top of, underneath.
Well, because the comics were smaller, so you kind of think like a pyramid,
Gotcha.
So I started just reading them, and picking up books, and back then they were cheap. They were 20 cents, 25 cents, and I would pick up the Daredevils and Superman, and I liked FF was one of my favorites, and it just got me into them. I loved them forever. I went to High School of Art and Design and took illustration and comic book art drawing classes. Mark Texera was classmate of mine, and
Nice.
and then when I went to college, I took advertising instead because I realized that there's no money in comics, and then I kind of didn't get back to comics until I was in my early 30s. So, you know, I came back in a big way.
What got you back into it? What got you back into wanting to create them?
You know, I started doing, did really well in advertising, and I started, but I was bored. And I still loved comics, and I was buying stuff. And I just said, you know, there's got to be a way to make money in this gig, you know? Because, I mean, I was seeing like big name guys, and they were making crap. They really were. Page rates were terrible, and they're still terrible, by the way. Don't think it's changed that much. But, you know, it was considered such a lowbrow kind of art. But I was bored, and I was a single guy, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to get into comics again because it interests me. And I started helping my buddy Mark Texera doing backgrounds on Ghost Rider and Punisher. And eventually I started getting my own work. I was just doing inking work, though, mostly, you know, back then. And then I met up with Joe Quesada. I met Joe at online to get some lunch in San Diego, and we started talking, and eventually we started working together. We did Event Comics, did Marvel Nights, and then so on and so forth. So it took off. But, you know, for the most part, when I started, I was just inking, and I was having a great time doing it, and I was able to work at home. And I think that the thing with advertising is I liked working with people, but I didn't like all the commuting and all that kind of stuff. And I was hoping to have a job where I didn't have to do that so much. So, and then, you know, you want to do what you love. So, you know.
Well, they say if you do what you love for work, you never work a day in your life. I don't necessarily think that's 100% true, but it's close. You know, you'd rather do that.
I mean, I love doing I mean, I love making comics. I probably like making them more than I like reading them, which is a kind of an odd thing. Phantom of many topics. Let's see. You're the man of my favorite Harley creator. Thank you, Phantom. My friend Jim Collins said he knew you from Toledo. I think I met Jim in Toledo, maybe. Hope to get you to Phoenix. I hope to get to Phoenix, too. I'm waiting for it to cool down over there. It's a little hot right now. And that's coming from a guy in Florida. It's hot in Phoenix right now. So
yeah, what's it in Florida right now? Like probably like 98, something like that?
No, it's 83, 84 right now.
That's a mild day. That's 81 here, so we're like the same right there.
We've never, since I've been here, we've never hit 100 degrees.
Okay.
Where I am. So I think maybe because I'm near the water, and that might have something to do with it. I'm not in like Orlando where it's like, you know, landlocked and
yeah, we're down in like South Florida, right? South Florida.
Yeah, South Florida. Miami gets warm. The Keys get really hot. I mean, you know, let's be honest. The Gulf is so warm. That's why the hurricanes are so big. You know, you know you know, you can practically, the fish are practically cooking themselves for you to pull in off the line. So
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So when you met, when you got involved with Joe Quesada and you guys did Event Comics, and then one thing I really want to talk about is what, like, you guys got the call to like, hey, come in and revitalize some of our line. And that was when, like, I remember reading Ash and things like that here and there, picking it up. But that was when I started recognizing your name, you and Joe, and seeing what you guys were doing. I was a big Kevin Smith fan. Of course, I got to mention that you're also one of the stars of Chasing Amy, which is amazing. So
yeah, definitely not one of the stars. That's for sure. I'm in the background.
Yeah, you're there.
When Kevin filmed the movie, we actually were the two idiots that opened the film, but they only showed that opening once in San Diego. They cut us out from the film when it was final. But well, Kevin was a buddy in Jersey. You know, Marvel Nights came about because Marvel was in Chapter 11. So
yeah,
they were literally either going to go out of business or be bought by somebody else, and it wasn't Disney. And they were experimenting to see what they can do with make the books better. You know, it was not a good time for comics. There was a lot of garbage coming out from the company. I will say, I know this because I was working on some of it. And, you know, so they made us an offer and threw a lot of money at us and said, what can you guys do? And Joe and I were both young enough that we thought we can do better books than they did. And we hired all our friends, Kevin Smith, Garth Ennis, Bernie Wrightson, Steve Dillon, you know, Jay Lee, and all these guys. We hired all the people we knew and gave them the books that we thought they should be doing. And then we went out And our mentality was, you know, we need to put our face to the line of books. So we went out and did a lot of PR. We did morning TV shows. We did a lot of different things to get our names out there. So we just handled it a little differently. Yeah. We got lucky. We got great talent on the books, and the rest is, I guess, history as far as what we did there.
Oh, you guys completely game changed things, because I think Daredevil was in a really sad state for years up until that point. And it's been, I think, pretty consistently decent since then. That was like what Daredevil needed. I think Priest's Black Panther run is my favorite ever. Like, I mean, even outside, I love the Kirby stuff, but what Priest did, I just love that. That Inhumans run with Jay Lee and Paul Jenkins is amazing. I even love the Bernie Wrightson Punisher stuff, but I do like the Ennis stuff a little bit better. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a different take. Look, Punisher was being canceled when we came in. Hey, Douglas, just want to say hi to my buddy Douglas over there. You know, the take on Punisher, you know, it was being canceled when we came in. So we decided to, you know, Chris Golden and Tom Sanowski came up with this crazy idea about, you know, the afterlife and, you know, the avenging angel stuff. And we thought, why not? Let's have a little fun with it. Let's see where it can go. And of course, getting Bernie to draw it, we were like, okay, that makes sense. You know, so that was our initial Punisher thing. And then Garth and Steve and me kind of did the regular, you know, guy in New York with a gun type Punisher right after that. Yeah. People complained about it, but they kept buying it. You know, they complained publicly, but it was like, I just bought this issue. I hate this Punisher. When does number 2 come out? You know, so, you know, so that kind of thinking. Sometimes you have to rock the boat with stuff. You can't always give the people what they want, because sometimes they don't know what they want until you show them. And with Marvel Knights, we just thought Daredevil is a top tier character, not a B character. So when me and Joe and Kevin got together and said, how do we make Daredevil like the top character, not a B character, not a C character? And we treated same way with Black Panther, same way with Inhumans. We love those characters. I love those characters since they appeared in the Fantastic Four in the 60s. So it just made sense, the books we picked. And look, we got lucky. Timing, great talent, a lot of skill. You know, it wasn't just 2 people, it was 30 or 40 people. We went in there and we changed the scene of comics. We did digital coloring, we did things differently, and it stuck. And I think that's the impact we had at the time. Yeah,
I agree. Marvel Knights was a renaissance for Marvel at the time. And then if you look at where Marvel continued going on for a while after that, that influence is super solid on that, right? So
yeah.
Y'all did good work there, and I was checking out some of your interviews and stuff earlier, and I love how you are so pro creator over everything else, like, and that's very important to you. So as a creator, I do want to ask you a question, because you're an amazing inker, and a lot of younger people that are into the industry now, they don't even understand the purpose of an inker. And for the most part, they just remember that bit in Chasing Amy about the tracer and all that kind of stuff. Right. And the game's completely changed. I wonder what your take is on that. Like, I feel like the inkers have kind of gone away. And
I think some people, so the thing is, the process is a penciler sketches the page as tight as they want, as loose as they want. An inker inks it, they tighten it up for print, middle ground, foreground, background. I always say an inker's job is to separate and enhance, to make it easy to read. And then the colorist gets in there and goes crazy. So comics are a combination of these people. And what happened was the comic companies started paying less and less money for page rates. So you got all of these professionals, some of your top guys making the same money as maybe a guy that worked on your AC, Yeah, your AC unit when it went out, and this is a skill, just like what he does too. I'm not picking on the AC guys. One of my best buddies is an AC guy.
You got to have a good AC guy in Florida.
Absolutely, I got a guy. Anyway, so they started paying them less. So artists started saying, "Well, I need to ink my own work because I need the page rate, the pencil, and the inking rate." And then some of them started coloring their own work because they're like, "I need those rates to make a living." I mean, right now, comics have gone backwards. People in comics were paid more 2 years ago. Now they're paid, I'd say, half.
Yeah,
they're paid much less. It's why I'm not a big company guy anymore. I'm a creator guy, because the companies of playing games with people. What they look at us as we're disposable people. If we're doing great work and making the money, great. But the minute you want to do something or you want to change or the book starts not selling, you're out. Yeah. Because they can, whatever you earn, your page rate went for me, it was like 20 years, 30 years of working. Now I'm too expensive, and we can get a guy that just started to do it for half the price. So they'll always do that. There's no loyalty. There's no retirement plan. There's no medical coverage. Every comic creator you see, they're paying for full medical. They're hoping for 401ks and hoping to put some money aside. Comics have to sell over 60,000 copies to even make a royalty these days. So, there's not that. So the reality of it is it's not a great business. And that's why you see comic guy creators at cons hustling sketches and autographs and CGC and, they starting to do Substack or anything like that, because there's not a lot of money in this business for what we do, even though it's a very unique talent and a unique skill. But you have to remember, how many comic fans are they? Well, people that actually buy comics or people fans of superheroes and comics are two different things. People that buy them, I mean, when you have your top book is doing 150,000 copies, that kind of gives you an idea of where that's at, and we couldn't fill a stadium with comic fans. People go, well, look at San Diego. But I said, okay, let's take out everyone that's there to meet a celebrity. Let's take everyone out of there that wants to get a new lightsaber. Okay. Let's take away the spectators. Okay. Now let's look at the size of Comic Alley, the comic where the artists are in it, which is like a tiny bunch of rows. And you realize that it's just a small part of the business. The licensing in comics, as the bookshelf behind you reflects, is a lot more lucrative than the actual comic books. So it's all these things, have to come into play. And that's why I'm trying to rework what I'm doing these days, because I kind of see the writing on the wall that sticking with a Marvel and DC is not the way to be successful in this business. It's just, you could be the new Batman guy and you can get some money and put it in the bank, but in the long run, there's a new Batman guy. Yeah. And you don't get a retirement plan. You get some royalties and that's it, man. And again, my medical coverage for me and Amanda costs more than most people make. Yeah. So it's kind of a crazy thing. So that's why I do the Kickstarters. That's why I work for everybody. And, it's why I position myself in creators first before comic companies.
Oh, absolutely. And you see that, what you were talking about the con, we'll take all these people out and take these people out. Like you go to cons now and it's like this random zombie from Walking Dead and these celebrities and this and that. And then maybe if you're lucky, a couple of comic book people. I remember going to cons back in the day and it was nothing but comic book people. In fact, I met you in Chicago in 2002. You had just launched Beautiful Killer. And you signed my copy.
There you go.
You and Phil signed my copy. There's Phil. There's you right there. So heck yeah, man. It's nice to almost 20 years later to run into you again randomly here on the internet.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it's I looked at just as some big shows. I'm not going to mention their names, but they're big comic convention. They have them all over the States and in Canada and stuff. And they list comic creator guests like third or fourth. They list the cosplayer, the voice actors, and the actors before the comic. Yes. Yeah. And that always is that's like a horrible slap in the face reminder of where we stand with certain shows and stuff like that. So it's interesting, but that's the reality we work in,
Yeah, and you've been diversifying, right? So you don't just ink. You started writing a lot more. You were obviously editorial. You guys did all the Marvel Knights stuff, and you did your own creator-owned stuff. You've done your Kickstarter. Right now, you and Amanda are working on Invincible Red Sonja at Dynamite, right? Yeah. And I'm sure you got other things going on. I was a big fan. I loved your JONAH HEX run, your Harley Quinn run. But the thing is, what y'all did on Harley Quinn really brought that character back to the forefront. But when they sell a statue or a toy or they put it, y'all don't get nothing for that.
No, we have to ask for it. Like, can we get a copy of that? Or No, and granted, Bruce Timm and Paul Dini get most of that. Whatever percentage they get most of that. But by reworking the character, obviously when we took it on, we had to walk away from the Joker and start our own life. That's the stuff that was picked up by all the movies, the Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey. And, so they used a lot of our material there. They throw us a couple of bucks, but it's not anywhere near what the guy that drives one of the celebrities to the movie set every morning makes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, if people knew how little we get out of it, they'd be a little shocked. And also how, I'll give credit. At least we got to go to the premiere of one or two of the movies and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the impact we made is on the screen, but we don't really, we're just another group. Amanda and I are just another two people that worked on Harley Quinn for years. And it's up to the fans to remember what we did. We made our mark with the fans. I think the companies look at us like, yeah, all right, they got lucky and they redid that and we made $1 million worth of licenses. Or I'm sorry, we've made close to $1 billion on licenses for Harley off the stuff we did. Here's a couple of bucks and we'll see if we can get you one of those statues. And it's really funny because sometimes I have to contact the people that make the statues and say, hey, you know what? It's based on my wife's drawing. Can you shoot us one? And they're really good. Like they're like, you didn't get one? Oh my God, let us send you one.
Yeah, that's terrible though that you have to do that. It reminds me of the on that Image documentary. Todd McFarlane's like, Marvel could have kept us for just very little. Like if you do a shirt with my drawing on it, can you just give me a shirt, bruh? Like,
yeah, I mean they oh yeah, I mean you can't even get into that. I mean, it's so ridiculous because we're so easy to take care of. Mm-hmm. But it's an afterthought and it's a resentful thing. They can't stand having to do that for us. Nobody is sitting there happy to give us money.
Yeah.
And but they're more than happy to give. You see the end of credits for a movie, there's probably around 4,000 credits and all of those people are getting a full check.
Yeah.
I love when they put a thank you. A thank you at the end of, Black Widow, a thank you at the end of the movies and all that stuff, but I'd much rather have a check.
Yeah, I bet, right?
But
you got to thank you in what I guess did you Suicide Squad and Black Widow maybe?
Yeah, I do in both of those, and in What If, the second What If, because Joe and I had a hand in creating the Dora Milaje girls, from the Black Panther.
Yeah.
So probably the next movie will thank me again. It's part of it. Look, I love the thank yous. It's great. But it really takes little to take care of the creators, and I think the companies need to start changing that a little bit. I wish the fans were more pissed off about that stuff, but they get pissed for like 10 minutes online, and then they go back and have lunch.
And then just get pissed about,
something else.
Yeah.
I think today it's the Wonder Woman, the Patty Jenkins said something, and everyone's pissed about her today, and I'm just like, tomorrow will be something else.
Oh yeah, it's Patty Jenkins again today. That's fun.
Yeah, it's Patty Jenkins again.
Joy.
Today,
Well, I'll tell you what. Whatever you think about Wonder Woman 84, that movie was funny. I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
It was funny for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
I try to put it behind me. I really liked Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and I enjoyed Black Widow. So I thought those two were excellent adaptations of the comic books. And I think the What If series is kind of fun on Disney. So there's some good stuff getting it. We don't have to talk about the stuff that didn't work so much.
Yeah, you just like the stuff where you get like a thank you at the end, right? But
no, I mean, I like the first Wonder Woman. How's that?
Yeah, the first Wonder Woman's fine. That's cool. Do you have a thank you on the second one?
No, I have no thank yous on Wonder Woman, but I did work on Wonder Woman for a while. But unless they take something from your books, they don't really do that.
Gotcha.
It has to be because something you did has influenced the movie.
Okay. Well, with Harley, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what they're doing there.
Yeah. I mean, that's why Suicide Squad had a nice thank you to me and Amanda, and the second one, not the first one. The first one, Warner Brothers accidentally forgot to thank us. They apologized for that. So,
Well, you know, you did some inking on Shang-Chi, so maybe
yeah,
who
that
knows?
probably it was one of my favorite comics growing up.
Yeah.
But the movie doesn't look anything like the comic, so you know, so I you know, if the movie is good, I'm happy for it. But it doesn't. It's not the Shang-Chi that I read as a kid.
Yeah.
It's kind of like another version. He never had rings with powers and stuff like that. It was
Yeah, I don't
always,
know what that is.
Shang-Chi was always Bruce Lee shoved in a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's
so,
it's Enter the Dragon if it got to continue.
Yeah,
right? Basically.
yeah, it's all good though. I mean, it's, you know, not every movie's for me, you know, so, and that's okay.
Yeah, I agree. Not every movie has to be for you, but of course, movies are for everyone. So we got to remember.
If I put my head right here, it looks like I have a full head of red hair.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay.
It looks almost like you're Red Sonja in a little bit, holding up some guns. So, whoa, okay, Jimmy.
These are used for drawing. They're fake.
That make for real? Are you being serious?
Yeah, that's for drawing. It's a fake gun. Look at it. The nozzle is, you know, this. It's fake.
Nice.
It's, you know, Amanda has me posing now and again like that. You know, when you're drawing, you need look at this angle. You know, that's a good Punisher angle.
Yeah.
You know, when you're drawing, you need to reference things. You know.
Yeah.
So I have guns. I have a lot of props. I have like a hammer, right? But it's rubber.
Nice.
You know, but it's like, you know, but dynamic cover again. You know.
Yeah. Well, you got enough props if you ever want to like make your own crime fiction film. You got enough props to do it.
I have a lot of props in the house. Between me and Amanda, we have a ton of props.
What's that like, being able to work with your wife, writing and creating comic books and doing what you love together with the person you love?
She is great. She is super, super creative, and anything I write, she makes better. So she's one of those creators every writer wants to work with, because they know she's going to put stuff into the books and makes them extra special. But we're working together now, and so everybody else has to suck it for a while, because Amanda and I do our own books together. But it's great. I mean, we'll go to dinner and we'll discuss a story or something, or we won't talk about comics for a while. But we have a time in the day. She's upstairs right now doing a cover for I can't even tell you, right, because I have to announce it first. But she's got a bunch of covers on a table, and she just finished the Red Sonja one, so that one I could talk about. But you know, it's great working with her. She's smart. She's dynamic. She's been in the business as long as I have. So we both have been through the grind, so to speak, and we still come out of it laughing and, you know, loving what we do, and we love doing the cons and meeting people and chatting with people. We're still the same. There's no burnout with us.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's super freaking cool. So right now you guys are doing Invincible Red Sonja. That's being published. Tell us a little bit about that.
So that's a 10-issue series drawn by Moratat. Amanda and I are writing it, and it's our love letter to Red Sonja. We both grew up reading the character, and we love the Roy Thomas stuff. We love the Frank Thorne stuff, and the older stuff. And we're trying not to reinvent the wheel with Sonja. We kind of made a checklist of everything we wanted to see in a Red Sonja comic, and we wrote a big story around that. So we have volcanoes, we have steam bats with 2 naked women in it. We have flying characters and pirates and mermaids, evil mermaids, and a king, king's son, and we have beheadings, and we have bar fights, and we have this gigantic list. And then we came up with the concept that she can't be killed for a little bit, because she gets put under this spell. She can get messed up, but she can't be killed. And it has everything to do with what happens to her in the story. And then by issue 7, she finds herself in another place with some of the characters. And it's a big story, but it's sort of one of those, it's like, if you had to read a Red Sonja book, that would be it. There's no preaching in it. It's her going into a bar, getting drunk, punching guys, and running around half naked. And pretty much that's what we know people want to see in the book, and that's what we're giving everybody.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Red Sonja, yeah, people that read Red Sonja, that's what they're looking for. My girlfriend is a huge fan of the movie. And I was like, well, that there's comics. right?
Right.
I think personally they're better than the movie.
Yeah.
And she made me rewatch the movie recently, and wow. And so that was a joy to see as an adult. And so I've been picking up the books for her, including y'all's, and she's been really liking it. She's like, this stuff's really good. Is there more? I'm like, there's a whole world of Red Sonja that is just ready for you.
There is, man. You know, this it's a great character, and Dynamite Comics have been doing an amazing job putting together the books and getting the creative teams on them. You know, we like I said, to get us, Nick at Dynamite had to do a lot of he had to work hard to get us, and he did, to his credit, because we were coming off a lot of stuff, and he said the right things, and he said, do you have a story? And I said, yeah, we actually do have one. Would you be up for us kind of taking our time telling it, though? We didn't want to tell it in 2 issues. We needed a good bunch of issues. So right now it's 10 issues, and I'm working on issue 7, and I think 4 comes out soon. I think it comes out any day now. So
nice.
We're really happy with it, and the reception's been great, you know, so.
That's super cool. Now, Dynamite has started selling some NFTs. I believe there's one that you're attached to, right? Evil Ernie or something like that?
Yeah, so Brian Polito's a good friend of mine, and when we started Event Comics, he started his company, and Billy Tucci started his. You know, we all like a bunch of creators doing our own characters, and he asked Joe and I to do a cover for Evil Ernie, so we did the cover for Evil Ernie 1. And what happens is Dynamite's got into the NFT business, which is a digital collectibles, and so they made an NFT, like a limited edition NFT of our cover we did for that book. And you know, I think they made a lot of them, and they're kind of cheap to buy. You know, so like anything, right? Like people collect trading cards, people collect toys, like you behind you. People collect. There's the comics, and then there's all the collectibles. This is another collectible. It's another thing to collect, and so either you love them or you don't. I like the concept of them, and I think, you know, there's a lot of possibilities you can do with them. They're not for everybody because they polarize some people, because they're like, well, what do I really have? I can't hold it. And I have to remind them that, you know, most of your investments are like that too. You don't really own Apple, or you can't walk in the Apple store and say, hey, my stock, can I get like 3 of these computers? It's not going to happen. So there's a lot of different things, but the NFTs is just the latest collectible, I like to call it. I think it's been around for a while, but it's been new to comics, and it'll be around a lot longer than Pogs will. So it'll have a bigger imprint than Pogs.
I still have Pogs.
You still have Pogs.
I still have Pogs. I mean, anything from the 90s, man. If someone offered me a bottle of Ecto Cooler for $20, I'd probably buy it.
Well, you know, Marvel just launched a whole bunch of NFTs.
Yeah,
and they're the entire comic. So when you get it, you get the entire comic, and they were cheap. They were like $6 or less than $6 or whatever. But they sold tons of them, and they sold out like that.
That's crazy.
You know? So it's just another way of another thing for people to collect, and as I like to say, it's another way of getting more money out of your pocket.
Yeah, right. Yeah, which we're more than willing usually to part with our money.
Hey, look, you know, if they're cheaper than if you buy a lunch. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not really crazy, especially the ones for Dynamite. You know, they make them all reasonable. So you can get them pretty cheap. So,
like a $6 to $25, $50 comic book or cover, a piece of art, I think is a way better digital collectible than a tweet. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I well, there's a whole lot of things right now, right? We have Substack out there for creators. Yeah. The world's changing, and I think COVID kind of made people like rethink the way they get their entertainment. Obviously, we all have like now a lot of cable service. I mean, I literally have Apple, HBO, Hulu, Disney, Netflix, Amazon. That's my current run of things, you know?
Yeah.
And I you know, it's sort of like I don't need regular TV anymore. but it kind of taught us like things are changing. Digital comics you know, for my Kickstarters, when I started them, I didn't sell that many digital comics. And now I sell hundreds and hundreds of digital comics from my Kickstarter. So the world's changing a little bit. And so we have to kind of change with it, roll with it.
Yeah, you know, I mean, over in Japan, especially, the digital stuff's been going on for a while. Like, you know, they have a different way of living over there. There's a lot of time spent like commuting, and like they have this like social stigma about like talking or being too disruptive in public. So they like a lot of them just sit there and they like read their Shonen Jumps, or they got their manga subscriptions, and they're cheap. They're like super cheap compared to some of the others.
You can make something cheap when 7 million people buy it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, the average comic only sells like 20,000, 18 to 20,000. So it's not cheap. And you know, we're starting to find now it's harder that you know, paper is more expensive because we have a lot of burning forests right now. So actually paper's become very expensive, and I'm dealing with printers. I'm jumping around the printers because some of them can't handle what's going on because you know, because the world is changing weather-wise. It's happening. Yeah, you can deny it all you want, but it's still going to change around you. And we have forests. We have whole, you know, like something the size of a state burning right now, and that has an impact. Everything has an impact. It's not always obvious, but you know, we all got taught a lesson with COVID how one little virus can change the world. Yeah, you know, so it's interesting times. I think that's why people are doubling down, buying back issues and original art, because they want their stuff. Yeah. There's some kind of comfort in your stuff, you know?
Yeah. So when are you announcing, when are you and Amanda announcing your Substacks?
You know, so Substack, I noticed, is basically focused mostly on the writers. Yeah. And I love the concept of it, but I definitely want to do something more art oriented and less writer oriented. So we'll see what happens. There's no Substack in front of me right now, but there is some things happening. But we'll see. Time will tell. Well, you know, I follow a couple of them, and I'm a Patreon guy. I back a lot of artists because I know they don't make much money. So yeah. I get my Patreon bill every month, and I laugh because it's only like, you know, it's like $20, and I'm like, well, Jesus, you know, I'm helping like 7 people, and it's really not a lot to do. It's a good hamburger in a bar, you know. Yeah. But as some people, I love their work, so I will follow them to the ends of the earth, and I will support them. Nice. No matter what they do.
That's what's so cool about comics and comics fans, and you kind of have this loyalty to. And there are people that have, and this is something I see in the shops all the time. They come in and they're like, oh, I'm a Marvel guy. Oh, I'm a Superman guy. Oh, I'm a Harley Quinn person. Oh, I'm a Deadpool girl. Like, and they start there. And then pretty quickly, they're just like, man, I'm just not enjoying it anymore. And it's like, well, I noticed that you really like this run of this book. So maybe you should check out another book from this person. Then they start realizing it's the creators more so than the companies or even the characters that they really like and respond to. And then they start getting into more of the stuff. And I think that, you know, Substack's weird. I don't know if we'll see where it goes and how they, like, where they can grow. That's what, I don't know how, like, a James Tynion doubles his subscribers next year, you know, like
I mean, unless he has some big movie come out and as his name, I don't know how he does. I think you have to do a little bit of both. You have to kind of keep, you know, but you know, it's sort of like as a creator, you get associated with things. So for many years, Amanda and I were associated. Well, I was associated with Joe, right, doing Event Comics, Ash, and then Marvel Knights, and then associated with Amanda doing Power Girl, and then me and Justin doing Jonah Hex for a while. We have the Hex fans, and then Harley Quinn, which was huge, you know, was a monster. When we worked on Harley, it was sold like crazy.
It was one of the top sellers, like, period. Yeah.
And I mean, you know, when we left Harley, it kind of did its own thing, and there's other people doing it, but I still have people go, oh, I wish you guys were doing more. And I'm like, well, that's because you read it when you grew up reading it. So that's your Harley. It doesn't mean the next stuff isn't good. It just means that you have the place you read and you loved it, and that's what you like, you know, and that happens. So, you know, the trick for creators now is to create new characters and do new things and build your audience. So What James will do in a year or two, I don't know. He might lose his audience because he's not on Batman. Who the hell knows? Or he might have 16 films come out with his stuff, and all of a sudden he's like, the biggest name, whatever. I guess it doesn't matter because what he's doing now is right now. He's building his library of creative stuff, keeping his fans happy by writing a lot of stuff, and he's trying something new out, which, like I said, I think that's just the way to go. Donnie and all these guys have their pages, and I support them. And if I don't like the content after 6 months, I'll just kill it. What's the difference?
Yeah.
My attitude is, but I want to give it a try. I want to try. The secret to not getting old is to try everything new. That is the secret.
That's good because, we were talking about how, we wind up just wanting to read the stuff that we liked when we were younger. Yes. I find myself just wanting to listen to the music from when I was like younger and things like that. So stay fresh, stay new, right?
Right. There's security in your old music, right? There's security there because you remember the albums, you know what the next song is going to be. There's a security there. But realistically, it's not that you don't want to hear the new stuff. You want to hear new stuff that appeals to you. And what happens is that takes a lot of time and effort because it doesn't, and you can't depend on some electronic rhythm kind of program to tell you what you're going to like. Yeah. I loved when I was a kid, I grew up in the 60s and 70s. So I loved that music. And then when I was in my 20s, it was 80s music. And I was going to punk rock places, listening to Blondie and Talking Heads and stuff. Nice. And then 90s, I kept changing my musical taste. And, my wife always says, your musical tastes are all over the place. And I'm just like, they are, but I do have my favorites. I do. Well, I have every soundtrack by John Barry and I have every Blondie album and I have but I still kind of go on and listen to new stuff because I'm looking for that sound that makes my head go, oh, that's amazing. What is that? Yeah. And so if you stop the search, then you get stuck as the guy who only listens to that music and people start mentioning new bands to you and you look at them like, I never heard of the, whatever. And I feel like, I find that I'm getting older, I'm getting up there. I'm realizing that, the thing that does keep me young, is I keep trying new stuff. I did subscribe to Substacks and I did, I have my whole VR, my Oculus VR stuff over there because I'm always trying a new program. And I realized that, that's probably the key to a lot of everything is to keep trying new things. My pull list at my local comic shop, I have no Marvel and DC books. What I do have is every #1 new book that comes out from every other company. Because nice. At this point, Marvel and DC, they only put out the same stuff, right? There's 18 Batman books, there's X-Men books. They're not coming up with new characters because there's not a thing in place to support new characters. The companies don't even want to share 20 or 30% of their characters. So they'd rather just publish their own stuff and not do new stuff. Yeah. And so that's why Marvel and Image came in and took an opportunity. They said, oh my God, they're going to stick to that. You know what? We're going to publish Image comics and we're going to take new projects on. And then, I discovered Kickstarter and I'm like, you know what? I can sell it right to the people that actually want to buy my books. Yeah. As opposed to going out there and hoping something sells. So, times are changing, but it's a great time to be a fan because my God, you got so many cool choices now.
Oh, the choices are amazing. Does it make you feel good to see more creators kind of trying to do their own stuff? Because, we had underground comics in the 80s and before that, and then, we had the Image stuff in the 90s and then you guys at Event and Brian at Chaos and there were some other things, but now it's just like there's so much and there's so many great original ideas. Because I feel the same thing about movies sometimes where it just feels like, it's another Fast and Furious movie. And as much as I like those films, sometimes it just wears you down.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I always say, watch a foreign movie, pick a country and then pick a movie from that country. Because you need different voices and you're going to find you can watch French films from the 60s and you're going to be like, oh my God, this stuff is so cool and so ahead of its time. Well, no, it's just ahead of the stuff you think it is, Yeah. So you have to have that variety. I had somebody tell me last week that they don't watch foreign movies because they don't want to read the bottoms. They don't want to read the subtitle. And I said, did you ever try it? And they're like, no. And I'm just like, give it a shot, man. You know, but like I said, you know, I've been a kid. I was a heavy metal kid in the 70s. So I was buying Mobius, Manara. I was buying all these Bial. I was going out and finding these foreign editions of these artists because I thought, oh my God, Milo Manara is like insane. This guy's like a wonderful pervert. I love the way he draws women are insane. And then I looked at Mobius and I'm like, oh my God, it's like the best sci-fi. And then I discovered Blueberry. And I said, well, that's the best Western artwork I've ever seen. Oh my, like that's the same guy that drew that, you know, like, so it's like, as you investigate, your brain starts opening up a little bit. And, you know, so you can't be the guy that says, I hate this. You can be the guy that says, I'm not familiar with it. Show me some good stuff in there. Maybe there's something for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, and that's the way I think a really like healthy comic brain works. You can't just buy every Deadpool comic and only be a fan of only Deadpool. There are people like that, and I get it, and more power to them. But there's a lot of great work coming out from everywhere, and it's like I said, it's a good time, especially if you're not in the U.S. You can download digital comics like crazy.
Yeah,
it's just pretty cool.
I saw something recently where in France they like were giving kids in school money to buy digital comics or something like that. Like that's awesome, encouraging reading, you know. And
yeah,
they don't see a lot of. It seems like in America right now the competition, and we were like, we have this conversation all the time. How do we get younger people to try comics, to get into it? And it's like, well, first thing, and I saw a comic story, and Benny said this on Twitter not too long ago. He said, you got to understand that your competition isn't these movies or these books or these TV shows. It's 15-second TikTok videos. Like everything is like everybody's on their phone and tablets and stuff now. But you can either sit there and be like, oh, I don't like it and resist it or whatever, or you can get into it. The more you try, the more you experience, the more you expand yourself. You become a bigger person, and not like I'm a bigger person than you, but like you inside, you become a bigger person. When you read a book, you read a piece of art, like a comic book or something like that, or you watch a film or anything, you're kind of almost taking on another perspective, right? And yes. You learn, and I learn from that. And
it's like traveling. It's like traveling.
Yeah.
When you go to different places. Look, I mean, the TikTok videos and the YouTube quick videos and the stuff on Instagram that's like 3-second feed things, that's all great. But we've learned this past year that it's not enough to sustain a diet of entertainment. And that's why people can dig in and watch 7 seasons of Breaking Bad, and they can watch, you know, they can watch full-on seasons of things. So on the surface, it seems like it's all TikToks and quick fixes. Mm-hmm. But the reality is people do invest a lot of time in entertainment they love, and reading is not number one on the list. Let's be honest. What we do, comics, we're a small group with a lot of influence. You know, we the stuff we do is out there in the all media, right?
Yeah.
But we're still a small group. The last famous person we know in comics, who is that? Stan Lee, right? People know who Stan Lee is. But ask anybody who doesn't read comics, name another person in comic books, and I guarantee you they'll sit there and look at you blankly.
Yeah.
They have no idea who a Robert Kirkman or a Mark Millar, or they have no idea who any of these people are. You know,
they'll probably be like Bruce Wayne.
Right. Well, yeah. So it's with that in mind, it's a very clear understanding of you know, our medium and how important it is for creators to brand themselves bigger than their actual creations.
Yeah.
So it's a whole nother conversation, I know, but you know, again, the old days was, hey kids, put their comics down and read a book. Now it's like, oh, thank God they're reading something.
Yeah, right.
You know, ask any parent, they'll tell you, you know, like,
yeah.
Oh my God, my kid's reading the side box of cereal. Oh, let me give them a gold star today.
Yeah, right. I hear that all the time from parents at my shop, and they'll come in and they'll be like, oh, I can't get them to read anything. Can't get her to get into reading, but they love this. They love DC superhero girls, or they love Dogman. You know, Dogman is something that like we sell like crazy right now at the shop. So
yeah, people used to get upset when cosplayers didn't know the comic characters they were dressing as. And I just said, hey man, at least they're coming to the conventions. You know what I mean? It's like let them dress up and have fun. Eventually they're gonna discover or have some interest in things. Amanda and I love the cosplayers. You know, that was our big influence on Harley. Was
you influenced cosplay for 10 years probably,
yeah,
or more.
I think it's Clarence is it Millar or Miller?
I think it's both.
I thought it was Millar, but I don't know. You know,
Marcus said it counts as both. I think that's a fence-sitting position on his own name, but whatever.
I'll help you. It's Bill Sienkiewicz.
I know that one. I remember studying that one when I was a kid. Sienkiewicz?
Sienkiewicz, yeah.
I thought it was Sienkiewicz.
Yeah, and people think that Buscema, John Buscema, they would say Buscema, and you know, Palmiotti used to get butchered, and I used to just say, break it down. It's Palm-E-Otti.
Yeah, apparently I butchered it when we started the show. So.
Everyone does, you know.
Palmiotti.
Palmiotti. It's okay. Amanda Khan is a lot easier. That's why I always push Amanda. The Starbucks people, it's always under Amanda's name.
Nice. That makes sense. All right. Completely veering off topic. Do you think the Yankees are going to win this World Series this year?
I don't know. It might be the Rays again, man.
I hate them Rays, man. I'm a Yankees fan. Are you a Yankees fan, right?
I am, but I'm in Tampa, man. I love the Rays too.
Oh no, man! But the Yankees had Tampa before the Rays did, right? Because they did spring training.
Look, the Yankees are in Tampa. If you want to go see them play, you know, before the season, I have the Phillies right down, not too far from my house, and then the Blue Jays. You know, spring training.
Yeah,
is near here. There's a lot of baseball here. There's a lot of sports, you know, and hockey, obviously with Lightning, and you know, Tampa's, you know, there's a lot of sports for a very hot place. There's a lot of they had a pretty good year last year, Tampa, and
yeah, they
I don't know. I think it's because everyone here is from somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
That's the clue, you know.
So, are you saying that you're not more of a Rays fan than you are a Yankees fan, though, right?
I will say that I'm not a huge baseball fan.
Okay.
Yeah, oh, by the way, it's Lightning way before the Islanders. Islanders, look, when I lived in Brooklyn, we didn't care about the Islanders. So, you know. But anyway, no, I'm not a huge fan. I'd rather play ball than watch it.
Yeah.
You know, but I do have my Yankees cap. Frank Thierry gave me a Yankees hat. I'll wear that, you know, once in a while. A lot of my friends give me hats for the sports they like, but I have like 2 Yankees caps. I got 1 Mets cap. Dan DiDio gave me the Mets hat, and I have an Islanders thing. I have a Rangers thing. I have a Lightning. You know, I got to be honest with you. It's so much sports all the time. It's kind of like I have to get to work.
Yeah,
I can't listen to sports when I work. You know, artists can do that. Writers can't do that. So, yeah,
nice.
I see Jay is asking if I'm into rockabilly. Yes, I love rockabilly music. You know, growing up, it was you know, I used to see the Stray Cats play in the bars out in Long Island, and they were so much fun. You know, but I like a lot of rockabilly. But you know, I like all music, but I definitely have a lot of my rockabilly records for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, and you being in Tampa, then I am a Yankees fan. See, I've seen you wear the Yankees cap, so I just assumed. Yeah. So that's my bad. But
yeah, no. I love the Yankees. I mean, don't get me wrong. I just, like I said, it depends where I am that day. You know.
And next week we start the NFL season with my Dallas Cowboys versus your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that should be fun, right?
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you know, they had that good year last year, and we'll see what happens this year.
It's nice to see some sports love and sports success happen to Tampa because it's been rough historically for them.
Yeah. I mean, when I moved down here, everything changed. So I'm happy. I'm happy I influenced everybody.
Yeah, right. You're the magic touch, wasn't it? You came down.
You know, there's so many New Yorkers down here, man. It's like you see Yankees caps and Mets caps everywhere. There's you know, Florida is like a crazy. Now we know it's like a crazy place. We know it's crazy. We have a governor that's a complete a-hole. You know, the guy needs to go. Not a big fan of him. DeSantis, they call him Death Santis. It's death sentence down here.
Damn.
Which is like his super villain name.
Yeah.
But Florida's a little crazy, and it's like the Wild West down here. You know, there's a time of day where COVID doesn't exist. There's a time of day when it does. There's schools fighting with the governor, and more people got sick and more people dying down here than anywhere in the U.S. And you know, this is the example of freedom has a price.
Yeah.
This is you know, there is definitely a price. With freedom comes a lot of stupidity, and so I feel like people tell me, well, if you don't like it, you should leave. And I said, no. I like it. I don't like it, and I stay because I'm going to help make a difference. I'm not going to run away from things, but
yeah,
you know, but it's exhausting sometimes. It's nice when Texas screws up, so they're the brunt of the joke.
right. Yeah. Yeah, they're getting like this week.
No.
Those of us in Alabama and Florida are like, oh, Texas, thank you for taking it away from us for a while.
Yeah, I'm sure they have an Alabama man, and I'm sure they have a Texas man. I know the Florida man is everywhere. So
I'm just waiting for that Florida man movie, and you got the props to make it. You should make it, Jimmy.
I don't even want to tell you the title of my next book because it has a lot to do with that. So
Well,
yeah.
Look, what is coming up? Oh, we got Invincible Red Sonja. Anything else you got coming up?
The
you want
next
to talk about?
Kickstarter I have, it launches in 2 weeks, is Painkiller Jane. So
that's right.
There's Jane right there, so you can get out of the way of her. She's and then you know, we have Amanda and I have a couple of books we're planning, and we have a lot of plans for 22. We're getting all our work done now, so you know, so we can have stuff into it. By the way, I'm looking. Florida is where New Yorkers go to retire. I will say that they call Florida the 6th borough of New York. So there is that.
Yeah, I've heard rumors that there are more Yankees fans in Tampa than Rays fans, but that may change. That may have been changing over the last few years.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, the Rays are kind of winning a lot of people's hearts.
I hate them Rays, man. Why are they always in my way?
I think the Lightning is the one that's driving everybody crazy, especially Canadians.
Yeah. Well, we've always loved hockey in Florida. What are you talking about?
You know, it's just it's an odd thing. You know, Florida, it like especially Tampa area is so, because everyone thinks I live in a place where everybody's like 70 years old and dying, and then when they come visit me, they're like, oh, it's all young people with families, and I'm like, yeah, it's changed.
Like you live where Jerry Seinfeld's parents live?
No, they're south. They're yeah, no, they yeah. I
get the early bird dinner.
Yeah. I don't know this guy, Jay Nuna. He says a lot of hummus farts in Florida and New York. Actually, I would say that's California more than anywhere.
Yeah, probably. That makes more sense.
If he's charting hummus for New York and Florida, I'm good. Happy for you.
I like hummus. What's wrong with chickpeas? Roasted, chopped up, mashed, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. I'm down.
There you go. I'm also looking at, I've been different artists on Harley. It would be cool to have Amanda did a guest shot. Amanda did do that Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey series. That'll be the last Harley Quinn for a very long time, unless DC changes all of their people, I guess, because they have no interest in us doing any more Harley or Power Girl or anything right now.
I think they did more staff reductions and changes today, and you know that's something that we were talking about on the channel last year. If y'all remember, was that DC was intentionally just saying, you know, we're going to drop those page rates. We're wanting to save money, focus on the branded characters. And that's why you saw a big exodus of talent from DC over the last couple of years. So,
oh yeah. And it's still going. I mean, you know, they you know, it's a business thing. They look at the bottom line. How much is that person? We can get somebody new for cheaper.
Because there's always somebody else, obviously, that wants to do it, that wants to break in and get that gig at DC or Marvel or something, right? So
yeah, there's people that are willing to work for next to nothing because I know that for sure. Or they're willing to do anything to get that job, which I'm not willing to do anything. I'm a professional. I don't, you know, if I don't work there, I work somewhere else. And I've earned that, though. I've earned my 30 years of comic. You know, if there were medals and, you know, stripes, I would have a whole armful of stripes as far as the comic military.
Yes.
You know, so, you know, so to go backwards and take less money for what I've earned my right for it's not something I do. It's just not.
Yeah, that makes sense. Don't ever go backwards in whatever profession you're in. Like, don't. Like, no, you're better than that.
Yeah, I will go backwards if everything in the world got 30% cheaper tomorrow.
Well, let's just keep our fingers crossed, Jimmy.
Yeah, but you know how that goes. Oh, we're going to raise the price because it's hard right now. But once our stock gets in, we'll lower it again, and then it never gets lowered. And I always laugh, like, lumber is going to be expensive, but it'll go back down. I'm like, it's not going back down. That's the new price. corporations can play everybody. They know how to do it. You know, they're never going to lower the price. Do you think if Netflix has 8 billion more people join on it, they're going to lower the price of Netflix? Hell no. Hell no.
Now, if 8 billion people dropped it, that's when you would see that, right?
Yeah, right. Because they'd be desperate. But and I have nothing against. I like Netflix. But I'm just saying corporation things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's awesome, man. And this has been a great conversation, Jimmy. I really want to thank you on behalf of everybody in the PCP Army for coming on and chatting with us a little bit about your career, about the industry, about your books, about your work. And dude, I really do appreciate it. I'm a huge fan. I think you're awesome. Like I said, this has been building up for 19 years. I've been ready to meet you again.
You know that was Phil Noto's first comic book.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was his first comic. Amanda met him saw him at MegaCon, and he was drawing at a table, and she told me, you got to check this guy's artwork out. I went up to him and I said, hey, you want to draw a comic? And he's like, yeah, man. And
that's awesome.
That was it. And the rest is Phil Noto history.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge fan of his work. I remember I had him do a Electra headshot for me. Cause that was back when like artists, like he didn't charge me for that. He's like, sure. What do you want? Electra? There you go. And I was like, and like, I'm like 21 years old and I'm just like, this is awesome. Let's go get drunk.
It's really strange how we made more money back then.
Yeah.
And now it's like they look at our careers at like they treat talent. It's pretty shitty,
Yeah.
It's really weird. I mean, I just find it really strange. And, if you're wondering why your favorite writer is going somewhere else, it has a lot to do with that, But I say I'm a guy that supports creators and anybody wants to say hi to me, I'm on Twitter on the J Palmiotti. I'm on Instagram, and also paperfilms.com is my website. Amanda and I sell our books. We sell our art. We sell digital downloads. We'll sell anything. Anything you ask, we'll find it. We'll sell it.
That's awesome. Well, Jimmy, thank you for being here. We're dipping out. PCP Army will be back soon. Don't forget, tomorrow night we start Horror Fest. I am so ready to get into this massive Horror Fest lineup that we have. And it all starts tomorrow night with a look at all 10 Hellraiser movies. We watched all 10. We hope you did. We got some things to say. We got some things to talk about. Jimmy?
Were 10?
There were 10. 10, bro. 10.
I need to catch up. I think I've only seen 4.
You probably... I at least get through 6 and then probably just skip the rest. That's what I would say. Anyway, thank you so much for dipping out, PCP. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for reading. Thanks for rocking with us.